following is a presentation of the Liberty Flames Sports Network from Van Wagner. Welcome to the Liberty Flames Clubhouse Report from Van Wagner on the Liberty Flames Sports Network. The Flames Clubhouse Report is brought to you by Fakes Jewelers. Since 1930, trusted for generations. Stay tuned for the latest views on Liberty Flames baseball, a look around the ASUN Conference, and we'll catch up with Flames head coach Scott Jackson. Now, here's the voice of Flames baseball, Nick Pierce.
Hello again and welcome to another edition of the Liberty Flames Clubhouse Report from Van Wagner on the Liberty Flames Sports Network. This week's show presented by Fakes Jewelers. Glad to have you along. As always, as we chat a little Flames baseball, Nick Pierce with you this week. And, well, folks, it is finally here. Postseason play is upon us. And coming up this weekend in Lynchburg, the Liberty Flames will lift the lid on the 2021 ASUN Baseball Championship. Liberty, the number 1 seed from the North, hosting Bellarmine, the number 4 seed from the North, in a best 2 out of 3 series. The winner advances to Jacksonville, Florida next weekend for the Final Four in the ASUN Conference Championship double elimination tournament. Should be a lot of fun this weekend. We've got baseball all over the place in the ASUN as all 4 division series get underway. Liberty and Bellarmine, then Kennesaw State hosting Lipscomb this weekend down in Atlanta. In the South Division, you've got the number 1 seed Florida Gulf Coast taking on the number 4 seed Jacksonville, and then the number 2 seed North Florida taking on the number 3 seed Stetson. So great action all around coming up this weekend. And again, those 4 series winners will move on to Jacksonville, Florida to play at the University of North Florida to compete in a double elimination tournament for the ASUN Championship. The Flames wrapped up the regular season last Sunday with a loss at Kennesaw State. They finished the regular year 35-12. And 19-2 in ASUN Conference play. And the Flames were well represented on the ASUN All-Conference team, which was announced late on Thursday. Liberty nearly swept the All-Conference postseason individual awards. ASUN Pitcher of the Year, Flames left-hander Trevor DeLate. Defensive Player of the Year, Flames shortstop Cam Locklear. Freshman of the Year, Flames pitcher Trey Gibson. And the head coach of the year comes from the Flames as well, Scott Jackson. All told, the Flames had 9 all-conference representatives, 5 on the first team. That was DeLate, reliever Fraser Ellard, catcher Gray Betts, second baseman Will Wagner, and left fielder Aaron Anderson. 4 members on the second team. The Flames had Trey Gibson, third baseman Trey McDyer, Locklear, and DH Brady Gulakowski. Then on the all-freshman team, Gibson was joined there by Flames right-hander Nick Willard. So a fantastic showing here in the postseason. When you have a great season, those individual awards and accolades tend to follow, and it was good to see a lot of the Flames recognized here this week. Speaking of Scott Jackson, we had a chance to catch up with him before the release of the ASUN postseason awards, but we will have that conversation coming up for you a little bit later on. We'll talk about the upcoming division series with Bellarmine and also take a few of your questions from Twitter as we get to the mailbag with the head coach. Also this week, we'll visit with Flames assistant coach Tyler Cannon in his 5th season at LU. Coach Cannon works with the Flames infielders and also the Flames hitters, and we'll be talking a lot about this Liberty defense that is currently ranked 2nd in the country in fielding percentage, just a tick of a percentage point behind Notre Dame for 1st in the nation. Just an unbelievable season Liberty has had defensively and also on the mound. The Flames team ERA 3.46, that's 12th best in the country. And it's been good to see the Flames bats come around, hitting better than .280 in the last 10 ball games. The Flames have won 8 of their last 10. They handled their business against Kennesaw State, winning 5 out of the last 6 against the Owls, and as a result, locked up that number 1 seed in the North. And now it's time to take on a pesky Bellarmine team. And the Flames did win 5 of 6 against the Knights in the regular season. However, we all remember that last game in Lynchburg. Liberty was down to its final out when Logan Matthew had to hit the walk-off 2-run homer to win it for the Flames. But not just that game, 3 of those 6 games were decided by just 1 run. So maybe on paper, Looks like the Flames have the clear advantage. I would say that they do, but don't discount Bellarmine. They are a scrappy bunch. They're very competitive, and they can hit the home run as well. That team actually leads the league in homers with 47. Flames not too far behind with 46. So you figure the key here is, if you're Liberty, don't put guys on base. Don't give them free passes. Got to limit the walks. Got to limit the free 90s, so to speak. Maybe you give up a solo home run here and there, but you can't give up the 3-run homer and give Bellarmine an opportunity to come up with big blows or big innings. Pitching-wise, the Knights are a bit depleted as well. Dalen Miley, their number one starter, not expected to pitch this weekend. He had made 2 starts in Friday games against the Flames this year. He was warming up in a side session last week going into the Youngstown State Series and felt a little something in his arm, had to have an MRI done. Understand that was a good report that came back, but he's not expected to pitch this weekend. So Jacob Nagel, right-hander, will get the ball on Friday night. He moves up one day in the rotation. Not sure who the Knights will go with on Saturday. Shane Behringer had made a number of weekend starts for them this year. However, he's missed the last 4 weeks with a shoulder impingement. He just got back out there this past weekend against Youngstown State, pitching for the first time in more than a month. Only went 1 inning and threw just 18 pitches. So he's not expected to be able to go very long into a ball game if he gets in this weekend. So it would certainly seem to be to the Flames' advantage if they can crack into that bullpen sooner rather than later on Friday night in Game 1. Meanwhile, for the Flames, they are healthy and ready to go on the mound. The pitcher of the year, Trevor DeLake, goes on Friday night. Left-hander, 9 wins on the season. And then Trey Gibson, the right-hander and freshman of the year, will go on Saturday in Game 2. That's a pretty good 1-2 punch when you can throw the ASUN pitcher of the year and the ASUN freshman of the year out there in back-to-back days. Well, hey, stick around. We're just getting started on this week's show. When we come back on the other side of this break, we'll visit with Flames assistant coach Tyler Cannon, talk about the Flames defense, and plenty more coming up on the other side. You're locked into this week's edition of the Liberty Flames Clubhouse Report, presented by Fink's Jewelers from Van Wagner on the Liberty Flames Sports Network.
The countdown to kickoff is on.
Willis again to throw. End zone. Caught!
Liberty Flames football is ready to rise in 2021. Rise with us. This fall, see your back-to-back Cure Bowl champion Liberty Flames take on Army, Old Dominion, and Louisiana Lafayette at Williams Stadium. Season tickets for all 6 home games start at just $70, a savings of 51% on single game price. Get your tickets now at lufootball.com. Now, back to the Liberty Flames Clubhouse Report, presented by Fink's Jewelers.
Flames Clubhouse Report continues this week. Nick Pierce back here with you, and time now to visit with Liberty assistant coach Tyler Cannon. He's in charge of the infield defense and also works with the Flames hitters as well. Tyler, appreciate you joining us here. We catch up with the players all the time, but, the assistant coaches, we got to get to you guys here too.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you having me, Nick. I'm excited to be on with you.
Yeah, and it's been quite a year defensively for this team. I was just talking about it with Coach Jackson a few minutes ago. It's really hard not to take these guys for granted sometimes, isn't it?
It really is. I mean, our guys, especially when we play in a big ballpark like we have, the guys have been unbelievable. It's nice to have 2 center fielders out there in the outfield. And, you can't sleep on Aaron Anderson out there in left. He's actually an underrated outfielder. He does a really good job in the outfield, and it helps when, you have 2 other center fielders that you have to go up against every day in BP, and that's obviously going to make it better. And then on the infield, our 2 seniors on the left side, Cam and Trey. Those guys have been unbelievable for us, and just the consistency day in and day out that people don't see just from a practice standpoint. They just continue to get after it and continue to try to get better. And, in a grinding, grueling, long season like we have, some guys they want to take a step back, but not our guys. And I think that's part of our success is we have an older group, and those guys are the ones that are leading the way, which it makes our job as a coaching staff, it makes it pretty easy for us. And then obviously with Will and Logan over on the right side and Gray behind the plate, this is definitely the best defensive team that I've ever been a part of. I know I haven't been coaching as long as Coach Williams and Coach Jackson, but just as a player and the few years that I've been coaching, by far the best defensive team that I've ever been a part of.
Well, it says a lot. I mean, considering you played on some pretty good Virginia teams up there in Charlottesville as well, and there's been some good defensive teams here at Liberty just in your time as well. But I think Ron Washington, he spends a lot of time with his players at the big league level as well, defensively specifically. But he'll say something to the effect of, "I can't teach the diving play up the middle that an Ozzie Albies is going to make," but at the same time, it's really the repetitions of getting better at just the routine stuff that makes you an elite defender, is it not?
Yeah, absolutely. And, knock on wood, we still have, some games left to our season. But that's the most impressive thing, I think, is just the routine play. I mean, teams we play against, and even in the past, sometimes the routine play on the infield seems routine, but more times than not, those are where the errors are made, and our guys have been super consistent, at making those plays and obviously making the acrobatic plays from, Cam, Trey, Jalen, Jake. Those plays are going to come, but just the routine plays, I think, are what's been so impressive, especially when you've got guys, like a Trevor Delayed on the mound that is going to throw strikes, he's going to get some ground balls. And just being a vacuum on the infield is so important, and we've been really impressive this year, and hopefully we can keep it going. But that's the thing you watch on TV. The most impressive thing is the big leaguers. They make that routine play literally 99 out of 100 times, if not higher. And our guys have done a pretty good job so far this year of doing that.
Also, I think the awareness aspect that comes into there as well. Like, I can remember a play from this past weekend at Kennesaw State where Cam Locklear, ball in the hole, it's short. There's runners at, I think it was second and third. He's not going to get the guy at home. Probably not going to get, it's going to be tough to get the guy at first. Maybe you could take that sure out, but then he throws the guy out at third. And then you're in a situation where instead of the tying run at third, you got the tying run at first and 2 outs. Just little things like that. I guess you can practice some of that stuff, but some of that's just having veteran guys, isn't it?
Exactly. You can practice all you want, but in the heat of the moment in a game, that's where it's nice to have a veteran group out there where, hey, a ball second and third, nobody out. Base runner makes a bad read, we're able to take advantage of that with Cam throwing the ball to third base. And it also takes some awareness of Trey McDyer at third base, having the awareness to go to the bag and know that Locke's going to throw it to you instead of just standing there watching Locke make a play. And that's where it's been, just little things like that, it saves us runs. And I want to say that was in Saturday's game, if I'm not mistaken, that we ended up winning. I think you're right, yeah. That we ended up winning by 1 run. And that could have been the difference right there. And, just little things like that, it doesn't, you don't really see it in the scorebook. But, those things make a huge difference, to winning a game or losing a game. And, fortunately, we've been on the winning side of most of those games, but little things like that are what makes a difference, in a successful season, and hopefully we can keep it going.
Flames assistant coach Tyler Cannon with us here. As a coach, I know that your primary desire is to put guys in the best position to have success. So defensively, it's no different, right? You're trying to get guys in position to be able to make the plays without maybe some of that Superman Herculean effort that you need sometimes. Yeah. But that said, I feel like that the game has really gone to the far end of the spectrum now with a lot of overshifts and sometimes it just feels like teams do it to do it, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you get a left-handed hitter up there and it's, we got 3 infielders on the right side, but
yeah.
I don't feel like this team just does it to do it. It feels like that there's a lot more that goes into it. So I guess with what maybe a Cliff Notes version of what you can divulge, I mean, how do you guys assess, how we're going to play somebody, maybe even when you don't have a big book on them,
Yeah. Well, a lot of it has, the video that's out there now, Nick, it's unbelievable. I mean, I can go back and, whether it be a pitcher or a hitter, I can go back and basically look at every pitch that the kid has thrown the entire year, or even 2 to 3 years in his career, whether it be at Bellarmine, whether it be at North Carolina, Virginia. And same thing goes with the hitters. So from a spray chart standpoint, we have a pretty good idea of where the guy's hitting it. Now, there's 2 things. You got the spray chart and also who we've got on the mound. How are we going to pitch to the guy? And you have to be able to trust the pitcher to execute pitches based on how we're pitching the guy and the hyper. I mean, it's a percentage game, so we're taking obviously if we move a lock over to the second base side with a left-handed hitter, high percentage, 90% of the time, the guy when he hits it on the ground, it's going to be over there. Now, everybody remembers the 10% of the time that he ends up hitting it to a straight up shortstop, but nobody remembers, if there's a ball hit up the middle and Locke's able to make the play. So, there's a little bit of, I don't want to get too much into it, but
sure.
We have to be able to trust the guy on the mound to execute the pitches, to execute the game plan, and Coach Williams and the pitching staff, they've obviously done an unbelievable job this year of executing pitches and, executing the game plan against the opponent. But, there's a lot that goes into what the hitter, no matter how he's getting pitched, there's a high percentage of times that he's going to hit it here or he's going to hit it there. It's a little bit of feel too as well. If a guy, with a little bit more velo, hey, his spray charts say he's gonna pull the ball well. His swing looks a little bit slower today, so hey, we may not move him over. So it just kind of goes hand in hand. We have a game plan, and then also we have to be able to make adjustments during the game as well. And that's with anything, whether it be the guy on the mound, whether it be, hey, as a hitter, the pitcher is making adjustments. Hey, he's able to throw this slider for a strike today when he couldn't throw it for a strike last week. So, that's the name of the game, is being able to make adjustments. And we do the same thing when we're shifting our guys, is we make in-game adjustments as well.
Good stuff. Flames assistant coach Tyler Cannon with us. Last thing here, got to throw you a hitting question. Just looking at the way that the offense has come on here, especially the last 10, 15 games, who's one guy that has taken the biggest strides from the beginning of the season and has kind of become a guy that you guys can really count on now? He's just come on here lately.
Well, I could name a few guys, but I think the biggest one of late has been Brady Gulakowski. I mean, that guy has just been insane the last 3 or 4 weeks. It seems like he's always getting that big hit. And it seems like every hit is either a double or a home run. And, knock on wood, hopefully he can keep that going. But the guy has just, and a lot of people don't realize what goes into, a game day. We have different routines that all the hitters have before we even take pregame BP. We do things in the cages. We do things in the weight room to get our bodies prepared, for a game. And that goes for a practice day like today too. Being able to take care of your body in a grinding season like this is so important. And, our guys have different routines that they have, but Brady has really come on strong, I feel like. And you can say the same thing with Gray Betts. The guy, was always getting on base, but he has a few more extra base hits this year, and I think that he's gotten a little bit stronger. And I think it's even more impressive is the fact the guy's caught every single game pretty much since the beginning of the year, and just being able to continue to produce offensively. I mean, that's impressive, especially at the top of the order. And Will, obviously, there's all kinds of different guys, but I would say of late, it's definitely been Brady, just the consistency that the guy is continued to have and produce for us. That's a key spot, especially behind Trey McDyer, so hopefully he can keep it going, and hopefully we can have some of our guys continue to play well, because it's going to be a challenge this weekend. Bellarmine, throw out their record. The last two times we played them was I think an 8-7 game, and then we had to, Logan had to hit the 2-run homer in the ninth to give us the win. So, they're scrappy, they're tough, and we're going to have our A game, be ready to play tomorrow.
Yeah, no doubt. Coach, appreciate the time. Great stuff. Good chatting with you. Appreciate you letting us into the behind the scenes here a little bit.
Yeah, thanks, Nick. Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
It's Flames assistant coach Tyler Cannon with us. Stick around. We've got more of the Clubhouse Report after this.
This broadcast of Liberty Flames Athletics is brought to you in part by Beacon Credit Union. Beacon Credit Union is a full-service financial institution offering a wide range of products and services. Having served Lynchburg and the surrounding area for over 75 years, our vision is to be the premier provider of quality financial services, a leader in our community, and the most progressive financial institution in our field. More information on Beacon Credit Union and all your banking needs is available online at mybcu.org. Equal housing lender, member NCUA.
Back to the Liberty Flames Clubhouse Report, presented by Fink's Jewelers. This week's show continues with the thoughts of Liberty head baseball coach Scott Jackson, presented by Beacon Credit Union.
All right, time now to visit with the head coach once again as we enter postseason play here this weekend in Lynchburg. And, Coach, that's got to be a great feeling knowing that you're going to be playing on your home field, considering the great work that your team's done there in the regular year, 22-2 in your home ballpark, and not often that you get to host postseason ball games in Lynchburg, but that's kind of exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and it's something that you got to relish. You get an opportunity to advance, and to be able to do it at home is something that our players have earned. I'm proud of them. I was hoping that they would have this opportunity to experience that, and so here we are.
Taking on a Bellarmine team that you went 5-1 against this year, but it was certainly a lot harder than it looked. You look at some of the numbers, plus 20 run differential, hit 10 home runs against these guys, hit 290 against them, pitched pretty well for the most part, but they've got some good hitters. And 3 of those 6 games were decided by 1 run. One of them obviously had to walk off in your last at bat there with Logan Matthew. How tough is a matchup of this in round 1?
Well, nobody said it was going to be easy, and we don't want it to be. That's the way I look at it. I think Larry just does a tremendous job with his players. There's some grit. There's some fight. I think you and I spoke about this at a pretty good length after we played them, here for the last 3 games. And I think they've got some tough kids over there that want to win and that are going to fight you till the very end. At least that's the experience we've had with them. So I think it's going to be a challenge for us. I try to throw out, what's happened up to this point in the regular season. I told our players, we're 0-0. Our record is 0-0. We haven't done anything yet except earn the opportunity to be at home. The rest of it you can throw out the door. The stakes are higher. It's time to ratchet things up, and I think our team is certainly capable and knows how to do that. So it should be fun. I'm glad we're here in front of our home fans, and I'm looking forward to hopefully a great weekend.
Head coach of the Flames, Scott Jackson, joining us here this week. I know you kind of throw some of this out, but I mean, just looking at what we have in front of us with their hitters, Higgins was a tough out, Justin Rouse, Josh Finnerty. I mean, all those guys competitive at bats. How do you approach them here this time around? And, is it even tougher now that they've seen you guys a couple of times in 2 different weekends?
No, that's correct. Anytime you get, first of all, you get to play somebody for the 7th time in 1 year, and they get, a chance to be familiar with, what we're doing in our rotation, which is almost identical to what we've done with them during the regular season. There's some advantage there. There's some advantage for us too. It goes both ways. So that doesn't make it any easier for us with the familiarity. We're going to have to, be able to execute pitches. That's what it's going to come down to on the mound, and certainly not get outside of ourselves in the box and create opportunities for us when those opportunities are there. We need to stay in the moment and be able to execute what the game calls for in those moments. So the game's never going to change. Certainly our opponent is a familiar one. So that may play a little bit of a factor. But again, I think you can throw a lot of this stuff out the door when it comes to the postseason, and let's strap it on and let's get after it and see what happens.
Well, looking at how your team's playing coming into this thing, since that Virginia game, I mean, 8 out of 10 in the win column. And also offensively, looks like you guys have really been able to ratchet things up a bit here as well, scoring 7 runs per game. Great Betts has now reached in 36 consecutive games, which is just unbelievable. How much has his presence at the top of the order facilitated things, if you will, for everyone else?
Well, it has. We hoped that he would be able to do that for us in that capacity and be able to kind of set the table for us and allow us to flow with things the way that we anticipated, similar to the effect of him hitting in front of John Embry, in the 19 season. I think that kind of vaulted our offense to another level. I'll say this much. I wouldn't want to pitch to Betts, Anderson, Wagner, McDyer, Gulakowski. That's a tough stretch there to start with your first, half of the order. That's no slight to the bottom half of our order, but those guys, they're tough, and Gray leads the way for us. It's a lot of confidence. It's a lot of awareness and some grittiness that really, I think, sets the tone for our team and gives us a chance to be able to settle in like we want to, right out of the gate against the starter.
Last one from me, then I want to get to some questions from Twitter here this week. But just looking at your pitching staff, I mean, Trevor DeLate, hard to imagine him being much better than what he's been over his last 3 starts. He's given up 2 earned runs in that stretch. But then the bullpen, able to get some guys out there against Kennesaw State this past weekend. Some of it went well, some of it didn't. How much of that was a product of some guys just not being on the mound in a while? And how confident are you in those guys running them back out there this weekend?
Well, I'll start with the latter part there. I'm very confident running him back out there. Some of those, pitches, and some of that's on us as a coaching staff. I mean, we let our starters run pretty deep. With that comes, less opportunity for your bullpen, and I'm just glad we were able to get them out there. No matter how it goes, it breeds awareness, right? You're aware of, okay, maybe I'm not where I want to be, or okay, I feel like I'm pretty confident in what I'm doing. So those things bode well for us because it gives us a chance to be able to fine tune and touch on the things that we know have to get better or have to stay where they're at, moving into the postseason. You know as well as I do, when you start to get into regional play, we're going to need those guys. So again, a little bit of that is on us, but the failure can be a good thing at times, and it can breed that awareness that I think is vital anytime you get yourself ready for a postseason run. So we'll certainly look forward to sending those guys back out there. As far as Trevor goes, and some of those guys, Ellard, I was just talking to Richie McKay, just kind of talking coach speak, if you will, and he just encouraged me, and I've tried to do it just to savor the moments around those guys, and just to not get so wrapped up in the next pitch and the next win, but just to step back and just enjoy being around them, enjoy sharing the same dugout with them. It doesn't have to be so much the games, but the practices, the opportunities to just sit with McDyer and Locklear, in a team meal, those things, they're fleeting, and we know that. And I've really tried to be more intentional with that. I hope there's a lot more of those opportunities here as we go through the season. And I'm so thankful for Trevor and just everything he brings. Frazier as well, Jake, Cam, Trey. I just want to soak all those moments in.
Yeah, that's really good stuff there from Coach McKay, and love the relationships that the head coaches on this campus share and how they encourage one another. Coach, if it's all right, I want to get to some questions here from Twitter.
No, I'm kidding.
Like to open it up to the fans here every once in a while. At Rise With Us 5 wants to know your thoughts on the new tournament format this year. And certainly it's interesting over 2 weekends. It's not the traditional conference tournament. You play the 2 out of 3 series first, and then you go to Jacksonville for the double elimination tournament with 4 teams. Your thoughts on the new tournament format, and then get your thoughts maybe on the 20-round draft format here this year.
Yeah, well, I'll start by saying I'm thankful that we have a conference tournament. I'm thankful for a league office that said you can play, you're up to your max of 56 games. I'm just some of that stuff. I think from an outside perspective, you can look at it and, why isn't Liberty rewarded being the 1 seed with a bye or something like that? Hey, look, this is not a normal year. This is not something that the conference tournament's not going to look like, it normally does. There's cost containment that go into some of that. There's travel restrictions. At the time that these decisions were made, none of us knew. None of us knew what it was going to look like and what we were going to be able to do. So, credit to Ted Gumbart, John Roberts, the people in the league office of being able to come up with a format that we knew was going to help with cost, was going to help with travel, and still allowed us to be able to do some things to celebrate, a champion and to have the Final Four in Jacksonville so that everybody could drive, and it made it. It just made it doable for us. Is it an ideal format? No, nobody, everybody wants an 18 double elimination tournament. I get that part of it, but we'll transition to that next year. No worries. And until then, let's just all be thankful we have a tournament and we are where we are, and we get to play at home and share some of that tournament with our fans here at Worthington.
And then I guess your thoughts on the draft this year, going to 20 rounds. I mean, that's better than 5, but what kind of an impact, good or bad, is that going to have on college baseball?
Well, it'll have a good impact on it. College baseball is better than it's ever been. When you only have a 5-round draft, you inject an unbelievable amount of talent into our game that may have had a chance to sign. I think it really streamlines what they're looking for, especially last year with the 5-round deal. They were very direct in what they wanted, and there was only so much to work with. So that left a lot returning for their junior or senior year. And it also left a lot, coming in from the high school ranks. And we were fortunate to benefit from that. Where the 20 rounds goes, it's going to continue to make college baseball better. I think the kid that, especially with COVID, that has that redshirt year that's a junior, that might have gone in the 35th round that goes undrafted, he's got an opportunity to come back. And so we're a great example this year of older players that, have been there and done that. When you have experience and when you have guys that are 22, 23 years old, that's a big difference. And I really like what it's doing for our game, and our game is just continuing to grow. And this is certainly, part of it moving forward.
And last one or two here, at Flying by Wire on Twitter wants to know where this Flames team ranks in terms of best defensive teams you've ever coached.
This is the best defensive team I've ever been around. Just from, the just go around the diamond. Aaron Anderson has made himself just an incredible left fielder, just with the jumps. He's not as gifted as far as maybe Jalen or Jake is, but I think Jalen and Jake get all the attention, but I think sometimes we overlook what Aaron's done over there. Jalen Guy, I'm biased, but I think he's the best defender in center field in the country. And then we have another center fielder, playing right field, and that's what you need in this ballpark. Trey McDyer and Cam Locklear have been rocks for us since they got here. I think, Will is made some plays that a lot of second basemen don't. And then, Logan Matthews' length over there at first base has saved us a ton. And then what Gray Betts has done to turn himself into the receiver that he is. Gray Betts impacts the game more than any other player on our team because he touches the ball just about every time the ball's put in play, and every pitch that's thrown, he has a chance to impact it. And he's really taken that to another level. We could sit here and talk for a long time about how talented we are defensively, but there's some weekends where I walk away just kind of scratching my head like, wow, I can't believe, some of the plays that we've made and how much we've helped our pitchers.
All right, last one, Coach. Former Flames outfielder Mike Robertson wants to know, who was your favorite Liberty right fielder from 2009 to 2012?
All right, Mike, you get the nod. No, I tell you what, man, I followed the program. I remember playing them down in Chapel Hill. All you guys that have a chance, man, all you alums, if you're listening, man, come on back and jump back in here. I know you're following, from afar. Certainly thankful for everything that you guys have done for this program, and it's your program, man. So, help us celebrate the success, and you guys are a big part of that, and we're so thankful for you.
Coach, appreciate the time.
All right, Nick. Have a good one, brother.
Hey, once again, as always, we appreciate the thoughts of the head coach, Scott Jackson, joining us here, presented by Beacon Credit Union. And appreciate him answering some of the questions from the mailbag as well. We're going to try to get to that every week. We'll take your questions on Twitter at NPierce84. You can follow me there if you're not already. But I did have one question come in this week as well. We were talking a lot about Flames defense here on this week's show, and wanted to know what my thoughts were in regards to Liberty's defensive clubs just since I've been around the program. Well, that goes back to about 2005 for me and my tenure. And, I mean, collectively, top to bottom, I cannot remember a team that was this good defensively just around the diamond at every position. I can remember great individual defensive players. I can remember Chad Miller from those 2005, 2006 Flames teams, junior college transfer from Colorado that did some good things with the bat as well, but boy, he could really pick it down there in the hot corner. Shortstop, Matty Williams. Gosh, he is probably the best defensive shortstop I've seen at this level. Played with the Flames from 2009 through 11. Left a year early, went to the Cardinals in, I think, the 15th round of the draft. And last check, I think Matty was working as a scout with the Twins now. He made it all the way up to AAA. Had some really good years in the minors with the Cardinals. But Matt Williams was really, really good. Just had some incredible range. Cam Locklear has certainly been very good over these last 4 years as well. And going back to a little bit of that conversation with Coach Cannon, he just makes the routine plays and he makes them look simple. He makes difficult plays look routine. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Is there's the short hop off the carpet or off the dirt wherever we're playing at. Just the reads that he gets, it never really feels like he's out of position either. Doesn't make a ton of errors, but that's not a knock on his range. He's got incredible range. He's got great arm strength as well. I mean, I would put Locklear and Williams probably in that category as far as best defensive shortstops I've seen at this level. Jalen Guy in center field, I don't think I've ever seen a center fielder as good as him at this level. The only one that I probably covered would have been in the minor leagues, and that's Christian Pache, the Braves, now with the Atlanta Braves, but covered him when he was in Danville. That's probably about the only other center fielder from a defensive standpoint that I've covered that I could put ahead of Jalen Guy. He just takes such great routes to the ball. He plays at 1,000 miles per hour. Everything that comes off the bat, he thinks he has a chance to catch it. And a lot of times, I mean, he can use that great closing speed, but a lot of times you'll even see him, get to the ball, and it's like he kind of pulls off a little bit because he gets such a great read on it and such a great jump on the ball that he can go a long ways and doesn't even need to dive after it a lot of times. It's really impressive to see. Certainly we know what he can do with his arm. But yeah, those are a few of the guys that kind of jump out to me. I'll tell you someone else who I thought was underrated defensively was probably Zac Haley. Haley did it at second base in 2011. Then he moved to shortstop in 12 after Matt Williams got drafted. Very strong defensively. And now, in case you're wondering, Zac Haley now a police officer out in Kentucky. I actually ran into Zac a few weeks ago, and he's doing very well. So it was good to see him when we were out there in Louisville. But hey, yeah, great question. Really appreciate that, and we'll take your questions every week here on the Clubhouse Report as well. So turning our sights to the weekend, Liberty and Bellarmine, Game 1 Friday night at 6 o'clock. We will have it for you on the radio, 90.9 FM locally in Lynchburg, also online at libertyflames.com, streaming around the world. Saturday's game, a 4 o'clock first pitch. Sunday, if necessary, we'll get underway at 1 o'clock. We'll have pregame coverage starting about a half hour prior to each ball game on the radio. And, of course, television coverage is on ESPN+. Should have good weather this weekend. It will be hot, so be prepared for that if you're coming out to the ballpark. Drink plenty of water. Get some sunscreen out as well. And let's hope that the Flames bats can stay hot against these Bellarmine Knights coming up here this weekend. That'll wrap it up for this week's show. Once again, we thank our guests, assistant coach Tyler Cannon and head coach Scott Jackson, for joining us here this week. Until next time, enjoy the baseball, folks. My name's Nick Pierce, saying so long, everybody.
You've been listening to the Liberty Flames Clubhouse Report, presented by Finks Jewelers. For more on Flames baseball, check out libertyflames.com. You can also follow the team on Twitter and Instagram at Liberty Baseball, and on Facebook at Liberty Flames Baseball. The Flames Clubhouse Report is an exclusive presentation from Van Wagner on the Liberty Flames Sports Network.